Have you ever had a melody or beat stuck in your head, but when you try to bring it to life, it either doesn't come out the way you imagined, or even worse, you don't even know where to start? I get it. It's frustrating. But today, I'm going to show you how to turn those ideas from your head into something you can actually hear and feel proud of. I'm Stephanie, and I help aspiring music producers like you with no music experience take those music ideas and turn them into songs you're proud of. In this video, we'll break it down step by step. No fancy jargon, just the basics you need to start making music. Let's dive in. All right, so the first step is to capture the idea. You have a melody or beat in your head, but getting it out is tough. Maybe you don't know how to play an instrument or you're unsure where to start. So here's the secret. You don't need to be trained in an instrument, nor do you need to have prior music experience to start making the music of your dreams. Here's what I mean. First, go ahead and grab your phone and pull out your voice recording app. Here's my voice recording app right here. And then what you're going to want to do is hum or tap out the idea that you have in your head. It doesn't have to be complicated. The whole goal here is to take it from your head and to get it into somewhere tangible. So I'm just going to click record here. La 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 la. All right, I'll stop it and save it. You can create a different category in your phone as well to help save these recordings. All right, I'm going to save it in music production ideas. And it doesn't sound the best, but that's totally okay. At this point, you may be asking, how can I transfer this melody into something within my DAW? And we'll get to that, but the more pressing problem here that you might be facing is problem 2. You don't know the musical key of what you recorded. So let's go ahead and explain how we can do this. So let's say that I only know the keys of C major and A minor from my studies. Well, if my musical idea, if it's not in the key that I know, we're gonna have to switch it up. And here's an easy way to do this. Now, you can open either a virtual keyboard, or if you have one at home, you can go ahead and use that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open FL Studio, and then I'm just going to open a plugin. I'll just use the FL Keys plugin. And then what I'll go ahead and do, I'm just going to play the root chords of the keys that I know. So if it's C major, I'll just play C major. Then if it's A minor, I'll play A minor. Now, one thing too, to help you determine whether to use a major key or a minor key, listen to your melody that you just recorded. Does it sound more sad or gloomy, or does it sound more happy or positive? Let's go ahead and give an example with the melody that I just created. First, I'm going to re-listen to my melody here. La 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 la. Since my melody is in a minor key, I am going to play and record an A minor chord within FL Studio. Go ahead and listen to your idea a few times and try to replicate it. So if it was do 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 do, like sing it out like maybe 5-10 times. And then what we're going to do is we are going to re-record it into our voice recorder in the correct key. So here's what I mean. I'm going to press play on the chord in FL Studio. And then I'm going to try practicing it with that root chord. Once you're comfortable in replicating your melody in the key that you're familiar with, go ahead and re-record it in your voice recorder app. All right, I'm gonna re-record it here. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. There we go. We're starting to make our idea work for us because we are changing it from whatever key it was into something that we can actually use and create with. Now, next, it's time to replicate whatever melody we created into our DAW with the new key. So here is how I'm going to do it. All right, we are in our DAW right here. I'm just gonna duplicate this melody, and I'm just starting off with a piano for now. Now you can click in the notes within the piano roll, but I always find it easier just to record it using my MIDI keyboard. So I'm going to experiment with matching the notes on my piano to the notes that I recorded in my voice recorder. And since we already know what key it's going to be in, so in our case it's A minor, we're going to have an easier time recreating that melody into our piano roll, because since this is in A minor and we know this, we know that the only notes that we'd be using would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, based on this particular melody. So let's go ahead and recreate this now. And notice that I'm also replicating the rhythms within each melody note. So I'm going to record this into FL Studio here. All right, so we've got it in our DAW here. And now what I'm gonna do is Control Q to what's called quantize. This lines up the notes with the beat lines in the piano roll, depending on how specific your snapping is here. So I have it on 1/4 beat, and here's what we have so far. We're getting started turning your idea into an actual song. Now, one thing to remember, don't worry about making it perfect right away. We can always go through and refine this later. Now it's time to start building your track gradually. It can be overwhelming at first, but remember, just take it one step at a time. Just go ahead and start with creating simple elements one thing at a time. We've already got our melody, so next, go ahead and create your chords, then your bass line, and then your drum pattern. And then you can go ahead and experiment with different plugins for variety. So let's say instead of a piano, you want to work with a synth, let's see. So what I'm gonna do is right click, and I'm gonna go to replace it, and where's Flex right here? All right, let's see how that sounds with our melody. All right, that does not sound great. So let me switch this again. Let's see synthwave. Ooh, that looks fun. Let's try this. There we go. That makes it a lot more interesting. And I find that changing the sounds as I go can help with motivation and gathering even more ideas for working on my songs. And then just continue to gradually add more layers and arrange your song. Sometimes it can get frustrating when what you have in your head isn't exactly turning out the way you want it to, but just know the more you practice and the more that you do this, the more you'll improve over time. Now, if you're feeling stuck, go ahead and take breaks when you need them. I find that for me, if I'm having a hard time or if I'm unable to make good judgments from sound, it's often because I've been working on this particular song for too long. So taking a step back, coming back to it maybe after a few hours to a day, gives me a new, fresh outlook on what I can do for the song. All right, and then finally, it's time to finish your song and celebrate. You've created something real from something in your head. Even if it's not perfect, even if your notes don't totally line up or your rhythms don't totally line up, you've taken the first step that many others do not. And you tried. You've made the decision to commit to learning to create your own music. So yeah, go ahead and bask in the progress that you've made. You deserve it. So for next steps, make sure you export your song, especially if you are still using the FL Studio free trial. If you haven't paid for a version yet, exporting your song will allow you to listen to it later because you won't be able to reopen your saved file until you pay for a version of the software. All right, if you're ready to take this further, go ahead and check out my 9-week Track Builder Bootcamp for more in-depth training. It's designed for aspiring music producers who have no prior music experience. And if you're ready to turn your musical ideas into songs you're proud of, go ahead and sign up for that using the link in the description. If you have a melody, beat, or idea stuck in your head but you don't know where to start, this bootcamp is made especially for you. Join the free weekly live calls for a limited time. There are limited spots available, so make sure you secure your spot now. Go ahead and join using the link in the description. I don't want you to miss this.